fellow with a YouTube channel named Michael P. Dawson came up with a very interesting video that I saw this morning, and I'm able to contribute to it. I'm able to offer a compliment. I'm not able to meet it at parity. He came up with 10. I don't have 10 in my collection, but I do have ones that he did not have. And what he presented was 10 pseudonymous examples where a musician participated in the recording of an album but did not include his or her name. And if it was included, it was included by way of a pseudonym, okay? An alias. And there are some examples of George Harrison, which I'm going to show you, Keith Moon, the drummer of The Who, Ringo Starr, drummer of the Beatles, a bunch of members of Derek and the Dominos, as well as the first one I want to talk about is George Harrison. And the record I want to cite or mention is his contribution to the Delaney and Bonnie and Friends European tour with featuring Eric Clapton. Harrison did not go to the United States afterwards. They kicked off this tour in the UK, and then they went to the United States. The reason this came about is that Delaney and Bonnie were the opening act for Blind Faith, and Eric Clapton took a shine to them. He really liked their gospel sound. So the credit was given on the rear of the record. Special thanks to Ahmet Erdogan and Misterioso. And Misterioso is L'Angelo Misterioso. The recently, I guess within the past few years, there was a 4 CD set of the entire tour, because they played, they opened up at Royal Albert Hall, then they went on to Colston Hall, Fairfield Halls, and played 2 nights at Fairfield Halls. And George Harrison played with them on the halls after the Royal Albert Hall. So there is no credit on the CDs, but there is a booklet, and I'm just going to read a portion of it. Harrison was at the Royal Albert Hall show, of course, as was John Lennon. George was going through a hard time with the Beatles and needed some R&R. Rock and roll, that is. And we were just the ticket, Whitlock offers. That's Bobby Whitlock. Eric asked him if he wanted to join us for the rest of the tour, and he jumped at the chance. George didn't come and rehearse. We just picked him up at his house in Esher in the tour bus. We asked George if he wanted to go, and he said, "Yes, I want to go," says Bonnie, relishing the memory. "But I can't," he said. "Patty won't let me go. But if you come to the door in the morning and say, quote, 'George, come with us,' she would never say no right in front of you, because she's too proper." And that's Patty Boyd. So he drove right up to his front door. Whitlock continues his story. We pulled up and he came out walking with us with a guitar he had played on the roof at Savile Row with the Beatles for their Let It Be album and film. And we got on the bus. The first thing that he did was, before even saying hello, was to give that guitar to Delaney Bramlett, straight out. George was all class. It was a brown rosewood Fender Telecaster, a very beautiful guitar that was made especially for George, and that's what he gave to Delaney. And that's the story. L'Angelo Misterioso also appears on Jack Bruce's song for Tailor, on the opening song, Never Tell Your Mother. She's out of tune. You'll see the guitarist is L'Angelo Misterioso. And I mentioned Keith Moon, and on Jeff Beck's Truth, Timpani is credited with You Know Who, and that is Keith Moon. And I mentioned Ringo Starr. Ringo Starr is on Son of Schmillsson on a number of the songs, and his credit is Richie Snare, Hope that's in focus. Richie Snare. And he's on a number of the songs. I mentioned Bobby Whitlock on his second solo album, Raw Velvet. The first side is Raw. It's a more rocky side. Velvet is my preferred side. But on the Raw side, you'll see guitar, bass, and drums, and there's only the domino cymbals. And of course, that's Eric Clapton domino, Carl Radle domino, and Jim Gordon domino. And you'll see there is also a background vocal, DM. That's Dave Mason, who was also on the tour with Delaney and Bonnie at the time. And lastly, I'm going to mention Thunderclap Newman, and this was produced by Keith Townsend. And there is a credit in Wikipedia that is nowhere to be found, and that's guitar. And the name of the guitarist I'm going to flash above me in this video because I can't remember it, and I don't want to change the video to include it. So I think that's it. And I want to thank Michael Dawson for this opportunity. There was a lot of fun. Could have been making videos today about ringware or numbers in the title, but this is much more interesting. And I hope you like it, and I hope other people in the vinyl community who have deep collections to make videos of records that they know as pseudonyms, because it's an interesting topic. Thanks.